Exactly 1 year has passed since one of the most significant moments in cryptocurrency history, the day when XRP was declared not to be a security. Even though the market has been focused on price action instead of fundamentals, this anniversary deserves far more attention than it has received. At the same time, another major development has emerged from the United Kingdom, where Ripple continues expanding its role in tokenization initiatives. When these two events are viewed together, they paint a much bigger picture about where the financial industry is heading and why Ripple continues to appear at the center of that transformation. While many investors are watching daily price movements, the real story is unfolding behind the scenes, and it could have a much greater impact over the coming years than many people currently realize. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiteboard Crypto Update. In today's video, we will talk about XRP. So be sure to stay focused, as you surely don't want to miss out on this. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Looking back at Ripple's legal battle with the SEC, it is becoming increasingly clear just how historic that victory really was. Today, because XRP's price has not delivered the explosive gains many expected, the anniversary has gone largely unnoticed. If the market were sitting at new all-time highs, the entire crypto community would likely be celebrating this date as one of the greatest milestones the industry has ever experienced. Instead, many people are ignoring it simply because price performance has not matched expectations. But markets often overlook fundamentals in the short term, and history repeatedly shows that important developments are sometimes recognized only years later. Ripple's courtroom victory was never just about one company or one cryptocurrency. It established legal clarity that many blockchain companies had been waiting for. It demonstrated that standing up against regulatory pressure was possible, even when nearly everyone believed success was impossible. Brad Garlinhouse has openly shared that many of Ripple's own legal advisors, along with outside legal experts, believed the case could not be won. Some even suggested shutting down the company because they considered the battle unwinnable. Imagine hearing advice like that while facing one of the most powerful regulators in the world. Yet Ripple refused to surrender. That determination says a great deal about the company's long-term vision. Countless businesses would have chosen the easier path by settling early or changing direction completely. Ripple instead decided to fight for years, spending enormous amounts of money, time, and resources because it believed it was operating within the law. Looking back now, that decision appears to have changed not only Ripple's future, but also the future of digital assets in the United States. What makes the victory even more remarkable is the level of scrutiny Ripple faced. Regulators examined years of internal communications, including messages dating back to the earliest stages of the company's development. Despite searching through documents and conversations from more than a decade ago, no evidence emerged showing widespread misconduct that supported the claims being made. That outcome reinforced the idea that Ripple had built its business carefully, while attempting to remain compliant with regulations from the very beginning. Even though this legal success was monumental, the market response has been surprisingly muted. XRP has continued experiencing periods of weakness, leading some investors to question whether the victory really mattered. However, history provides many examples where markets completely misunderstood the significance of major events. Investors often become distracted by short-term headlines while ignoring the bigger picture that eventually drives long-term value. A useful comparison can be found in Tesla's earlier years. During the period when Tesla was solving production challenges and preparing to become one of the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturers, many investors were focused on controversy surrounding Elon Musk rather than the company's improving fundamentals. Bankruptcy fears dominated headlines even as Tesla's operational position continued strengthening. Those who understood what was happening beneath the surface recognized that the market's negative reaction failed to reflect the company's long-term potential. Years later, that misunderstanding became obvious. Many XRP supporters believe today's situation carries similar characteristics. The market continues focusing on short-term price movements while overlooking the broader structural progress Ripple has made. Although waiting can certainly be frustrating, long-term investors often recognize that meaningful infrastructure takes years rather than months to produce widespread results. Another interesting perspective is that Ripple may have been uniquely positioned to withstand this legal battle. Few cryptocurrency companies possess the financial resources, leadership, global relationships, and determination necessary to fight such an extensive lawsuit. Had another company faced the same challenge, the outcome may have been very different. Ripple not only survived, but also established legal clarity that continues influencing discussions throughout the digital asset industry. While reflecting on that anniversary is important, recent developments from the United Kingdom may be even more exciting for Ripple's future. Ripple has once again become involved in major tokenization initiatives, reinforcing a pattern that has been visible for years. Whenever governments, financial institutions, or infrastructure providers begin discussing the modernization of finance, Ripple's name frequently appears somewhere within those conversations. This pattern is not new. Ripple has participated in discussions involving central banks across multiple continents. It has maintained relationships with regulators, payment providers, and financial institutions for years. Court documents also revealed that Ripple had engaged with the Federal Reserve many years before much of the public even understood blockchain technology. These long-standing relationships demonstrate that Ripple has consistently focused on institutional finance rather than short-term retail speculation. The latest developments involving the United Kingdom continue that strategy. Reports indicate Ripple has become involved in tokenization efforts connected to an enormous financial market valued in the tens of trillions of dollars. That does not mean every asset will suddenly appear on public blockchains overnight. Financial transformation rarely happens instantly. Instead, what it demonstrates is that large institutions increasingly recognize tokenization as a practical direction for future markets. An important observation is that many organizations entering blockchain technology are choosing Ripple to play some role within their initiatives. Whether discussions involve custody solutions, settlement systems, derivatives infrastructure, cross-border payments, or tokenization frameworks, Ripple repeatedly appears as part of the conversation. That consistency should not be ignored. Ripple has spent years promoting an entirely different vision for cryptocurrency. While much of the industry focused on speculative trading and retail excitement, Ripple concentrated on enterprise infrastructure. The company argued that blockchain technology would eventually become part of everyday financial operations, supporting businesses, governments, banks, and institutional investors. At first, many people dismissed that vision because speculation dominated the market. Today, however, institutional adoption is steadily becoming reality. The true value of blockchain technology extends far beyond buying and selling digital coins, clearing transactions more efficiently, settling payments faster, reducing operational costs, moving value globally, and representing traditional assets digitally are practical applications capable of transforming financial markets. These are precisely the areas where Ripple has devoted years of development. The XRP ledger was specifically designed to facilitate efficient movement of value. Fast settlement, scalability, and low transaction costs position it as infrastructure capable of supporting financial applications on a much larger scale than retail trading alone. As tokenization gains momentum, infrastructure capable of moving tokenized assets efficiently becomes increasingly valuable. This is where Ripple's broader strategy becomes easier to understand. Tokenizing assets is only one part of the process. Once assets exist digitally, they must still be transferred, cleared, settled, and integrated into financial systems. Without reliable infrastructure handling those operations, tokenized assets cannot deliver their full potential. Ripple has spent years building those foundational layers. The acquisition of Hidden Road further strengthens this broader ecosystem. Prime brokerage, institutional settlement, custody, liquidity, and tokenization all become interconnected pieces rather than isolated services. Ripple appears focused on creating an end-to-end institutional platform rather than offering only one blockchain product. Some have compared this strategy to building the infrastructure of an online marketplace rather than simply selling products. Just as Amazon developed logistics, fulfillment, payments, and cloud services to support commerce, Ripple appears focused on constructing financial infrastructure supporting blockchain-based markets. Whether that comparison ultimately proves accurate remains to be seen, but it illustrates the scale of Ripple's ambitions. For years, many investors expected institutional adoption to arrive much sooner. Ripple may have built technology that was ready several years ago. But the broader financial industry was still evaluating blockchain's practical value. Regulations remained uncertain, institutions moved cautiously, and infrastructure continued evolving. Today, however, attitudes appear to be changing rapidly as governments and financial organizations increasingly discuss tokenization, digital assets, and blockchain settlement. The announcements emerging throughout the industry suggest blockchain technology is progressing beyond small pilot programs. Institutions are now launching larger initiatives designed to modernize financial infrastructure. Private blockchains, public blockchains, tokenized securities, digital settlement systems, and institutional custody solutions are all becoming increasingly common topics. Looking ahead, several developments could define the coming year. Regulatory clarity may continue improving in the United States. More corporations may begin tokenizing assets at larger scale. Most importantly, genuine institutional transaction volume could begin flowing across blockchain infrastructure instead of remaining limited to experimental projects. That transition would represent a major turning point because it shifts blockchain from theoretical potential toward measurable economic activity. Once significant financial value begins moving through these systems consistently, public perception of cryptocurrency could change dramatically. For many years, cryptocurrency has been viewed primarily as a speculative investment market. But if blockchain increasingly becomes associated with global settlement, asset tokenization, institutional finance, and payment infrastructure, the narrative surrounding the entire industry may evolve. Instead of asking whether blockchain has practical use cases, institutions may begin asking how quickly they can integrate these technologies into existing operations. Ripple has often been viewed as different from much of the cryptocurrency industry because it prioritized enterprise adoption over retail excitement. At times, that strategy caused criticism from parts of the crypto community. Yet the direction financial markets now appear to be taking aligns closely with the vision Ripple promoted from the beginning. The combination of legal clarity, expanding institutional partnerships, tokenization initiatives, and infrastructure development suggests Ripple is entering an environment better suited to its long-term business model than ever before. Rather than chasing temporary market trends, the company has spent years preparing for large-scale institutional adoption. As additional governments, banks, corporations, and financial organizations launch blockchain initiatives, Ripple's role could continue expanding. Each new announcement reinforces the broader narrative that digital assets are becoming integrated into mainstream finance rather than remaining isolated within speculative trading markets. Eventually, markets may begin recognizing that blockchain is not simply about price speculation. It is about transforming how value moves, how assets are represented, how payments settle, and how financial systems operate in an increasingly digital economy. If that shift in perception accelerates, Ripple and the XRP ledger could find themselves positioned at the center of one of the largest technological transformations modern finance has experienced. 1 year after the historic court ruling, Ripple's biggest achievement may not simply be winning a legal case. Its greatest accomplishment may be spending years quietly building the infrastructure needed for the next generation of global finance. As the world gradually moves toward tokenization, on-chain settlement, institutional blockchain adoption, and real-world utility, Ripple's long-term strategy appears increasingly aligned with the direction the financial industry itself is beginning to follow. Well, guys, that's all we have for you today. What are your thoughts on XRP? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.